start questioning the person. You say, no, I did not mention 500. The person now will not tell you, but Moses, is it easy? Is it possible to be 500
within 9 months?
And he wants you to say,
is it possible to put the roadmap working within 8 months? Why not give us time? Why not test the 4 years tenure?
But Moses, when he asks you that question, he wants you to say yes.
And I will keep quiet.
You keep quiet. You're a good Ben. I don't know why I'm in this mood today.
And I will keep quiet. All right, then, Sam. We'll come down to that point. A lot to talk about today on Standpoint. Yeah. The spree of abduction in Kaduna State at the moment is something else. Is getting out of control, to be sincere. Yeah, but it appears that our leaders, talking about the chief security officers, either within the territory or as a nation, Nigeria, they appear not to give acute attention to the happenings down there. That will be our point of discussion this morning on Standpoint, as we'll be looking at the spree of abduction, not just in Kaduna State, but Nigeria. We'll be joined shortly by a security expert to address this issue. But at the meantime, Sam, there are other issues that we are tracking. Yeah. Developments. Let us begin with Abia State, where the governor, Alex Otti, has approved the appointment of chief medical directors for government-owned hospitals in the state, members of the governing councils of state-owned institutions. The governor made the appointment, a statement signed by Kazuko, his chief press secretary. The appointees are Kalu Yukalu, executive secretary, primary health care, Chimezie Okwonu, specialist diagnostic center Umahia, Professor Ijoman Duka, CMD Absuth, and then also NOE Kamanu, CMD General Hospital Aba, Odochi Azubike, CEO Health Management Board, Agbomam Ukwabasi, SSA, Ease of Doing Business, and Mrs. Victoria Owubiko, the MD CEO APSA. Well, there are other names down there, but the important one, the ones that are up, are the ones around these health facilities. Sam, it happened yesterday in Abia State. People have been sending in encomiums that the governor has done well. Your take on this development from the Abia State government?
Is actually a very good one. Like I said, when I talk about things that has to do with leadership, I don't like giving praises or mentioning particular names, but whether we want to accept it or not, the current governor, Alex Otti, one way or the other, is actually getting it right, and as much as well. We want more. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm from Abia. I'm just like the Oliver Twist of our time. I want more. But on this one, you want to say kudos. Because if you look at, as it has to do with health, Nigeria is even a disaster generally. Then in Abia State, God's own state, I believe God doesn't joke with, the health of his children. We have actually not been paying attention to the things that has to do with health here in Abia. That is the bitter truth. I started by saying Nigeria in general, it is just 10% over 100. And that's a very poor one. That's why you want to see these nurses, doctors, medical practitioners want to go to a place where they will, even from being a chief medical director, they will even want to become a caregiver, knowing that their money is assured, they will be taken proper care of. Then, now we have been in this situation where the politicians, the leaders, small ear pain, boom, they are out of this country. Headache, they are out of the country. Stomach ache, they are out of the country. They'll come back and they'll come back fresher, stronger. Then the facilities that has to do with the health of the people won't actually be paid attention. Is a big one. Apart from, is it the FMC? Yeah, Federal Medical Center. The branch in Umuahia here. That's the only one you will say now. If something is happening to you, you want them to pay attention to your health, you go there.
Down there.
All the health centers, I am saying all. This is from Samia China Agorom Dubisi. I am saying all. We can't go there and get anything treatment. Government owned. Now, this appointment, I believe he's making, or he has made this appointment so that these people will go to these places, not only be Oga. Well done, sir. You come in the morning, they greet you, all your staff, your subordinates. Let me not say your staff, nobody you employ them. Your subordinates, they come there, they bow for you, then you go. When next they will see you will be in the evening, when you must have come to check, is there anybody? Nobody. You go again. No, they did not. They haven't. The governor did not appoint you. I'm talking to the people now. To just be there and answer name is for you to work, because our government-owned health facilities They are dilapidated, abandoned, forsaken, and you can actually add any other word there. We want people that will come in there and work. The government, we have money. And I believe the state government now will be paying attention to these
government
health
has
facilities.
money. We don't have to say it twice.
Yes.
The government has money.
The money
there. The money is there.
So let us revive. Let us start looking into these how medical facilities that the government own. When I mean the government, you and I, not the man occupying that position, because one day he will step down and you continue to be an Abian.
These appointments would instigate actions and operations immediately. But looking at it at this point, Sam, is it not coming quite late? Or is it coming at the appropriate time? Remember that we've had arguments concerning the congestion of the Federal Medical Center, Umahi, as a result of the fact that certain health centers in the state have not been functioning.
Even the man,
that's why people troop down there from time to time.
The day he came here,
the CMD of FMC.
He said it. He said it that the crowd there is too much because we have actually not been, paying attention to the government-owned facilities. So yes, like I said, we have not been paying attention to things that has to do with the, public medical health facilities. So now, yes, it's late, but under this administration, I believe few months, let's say 10 months, give and take. They started from somewhere.
Okay.
Now getting to this point, I want to say that, okay, it's a nice one. The appointment have been made. I want to see action.
Yes, we want to see action at this point. I remember when the governor came in, he started with retrofitting most of these health facilities in the state. I believe which took time to put in necessary instruments in these facilities to the standard that one can easily walk down there and then obtain a health service or health services. It's a good one. However, they should swing into action. When it comes to health, it's not something that we'll have to delay over. Anything can happen. If you take away your eyes off a particular patient, anything can happen at all. So the governor has done well in that regard. But these persons who have been appointed, please, they should aid him so that at the end of the day, we'll not start pointing at fingers that he has not done well in this capacity. He retrofitted the health facilities. I agree completely. Swing into actions. Let us see you working, and then know that health is very, very important, whether you like it or yes. Before we move down to our issue this morning, the President, Bola Tinubu, has presented the All Progressives Congress APC flag to the standard bearer in the September 21st Edo State gubernatorial election, and his running mate, Dennis Idahosa, at the State House. Sam, a very quick one. You know the controversy that surrounded the primaries of the Edo State election, looking at APC. Finally, yesterday, the president presented the flag to the flag bearer. That's Monday. And then they brought in Idahosa. You know, the controversy, no, I want this, I am to take this and take that. But would this even give APC victory in that state? That's on one side. Remember, there is an internal rancor already that I believe if Idahosa has not come up to say that he's satisfied with the resolution of the president bringing him in at this point in time, would they still, at the end of the day, clinch the seat of power in Edo State? But it's a politics that, or a line of politics that will be left for the people of Edo to give attention and then take their verdict at the end of the day.
Definitely. You just said it all there. That's the summary. The Edo indigenes, the Edo citizens, the owners of Edo State, because the few politicians are actually not the owners. Unfortunately, they think they are. The owners of the Edo State should know who they want. Yes, in as much as well, election here in Nigeria, you vote, and the people that have the final say want to say otherwise or do otherwise. The statement Edo made, Edo State APC made, was something I don't know. I hope they have actually changed when they said that they will do everything possible just to win the state. When you make such statement, for me as a party, you are very unserious. That means you don't consider the people. You're not even, for me, it's insulting. You don't have respect, because if you have respect, you will say, okay, from what you people have, the people you're going to present, and the love you believe that the Edo states indigens have for you, that you will win. But when you say you do everything possible,
everything to clinch. Not forgetting that a different party is at the end of affair in that state, being PDP.
Yes, what if they choose someone from PDP? That is, if our votes really count. What if they go down to
our votes count? If by that one, let me get back to our leader. I will take exception of that one. Our votes count.
INEC the agreement count.
Our votes count.
That's just the problem.
It counts.
I will just want the Edo indigenes to come out that particular day and vote. They should not. We keep saying, don't vote party. Don't vote party. Vote individuals. The ones you know will do better. And well, it's a good one. They have the flag now. They should flag the flag in a way that it will favor the Edo people and not the party.
We are not still far away from the reality that in most cases, the party at the state level would want to attract or derive, let's say, external or superior support, if at all the party at that state level corresponds with that at the federal level.
It happens.
Saying that they would do everything possible to win the election in Edo State, as you have established this morning already. Let me not believe that it's from that angle. But we expect elections in Nigeria to be free, fair, and credible. So if this perception that you must win the election, it should be done in a civil way that everybody understands that this is a democracy. Sam, is it possible even in our country to give that confidence that you would win election because you have the federal might, you have a party at the federal level that supports you or that you think would support you during the election?
Indirectly, that's what it is. I just wish we will do, if possible, the presidential election last. I don't know how possible it will be. Yes, I just wish the gubernatorial election, the state house of assembly election, then we do, after that, and when we must have known our governors and the state house representatives, then we conduct the presidential election. Because we capitalize on, okay, let's know who we win. That's why sometimes you see them after we must have known the president and the party. You see people, somebody that was in APC, for example, during the presidential election, now after the presidential election, you see him leaving his party to join that party in federal level, knowing that there is a plus. Definitely. Even I think someone from APC after the presidential election said that their target is to make sure that APC will win more states. That statement is, for me,
well, in the coming days we'll give attention to this political development in our state. But joining us this morning to look at the topic, the spree of abduction by bandits in Kaduna, Nigeria, and the non-release of the abductees, issues and concerns, is a fellow of the Institute of Forensic and Fraud Investigators of Nigeria, of course, a recipient of Ziggs Award on Innovation and Creativity, Sir Chikwe Udensi. A very good morning to you, sir, and thank you for joining us on Standpoint this morning.
Thank you, Moses. Thanks for having me.
All right, we've asked you this question several times, and then I believe also that at this point...
thank you, Moses.
All right,
thanks for having me.
All right, a few weeks ago in Nigeria, it was the hardship that stalked the land which led to the protest over hike in food prices and looting spree of trucks conveying foodstuff and the break-ins of warehouses that followed in its wake. Then the news filtered inside, talking about abduction, not just within a particular state. It happened in Borno State, where women and girls went out to fetch firewood and then to complement what they had. Then the issue of over 287...
You have 1 minute.
Of over 287 students, scholars and teachers in Kaduna State. And also the issue of, after that day, about 15 or 16 of them also were abducted. Not quite long, on Sunday, precisely 87 persons still in Kaduna State were abducted. Remember that the president had given a go-ahead to release these children without paying a dime. And then this instructively consolidates on the saying of the governor of, that's Babagana Zulum, if I can remember strictly, sir, that the Boko Haram terrorists had been substantially degraded. Could this epidemic of abduction be calibrated or designed to send a shrill message that insurgency is well and alive? We want to start off with you, sir, on that point. Is insurgency in Nigeria well and alive? Hello, sir.
Your call credit.
Okay, we'll try to get back to Sachiko Dense, but at this moment, Sam, while we try to connect with him again,
Yeah.
the issue of this spree in abduction. I can remember clearly a lot of different level of ammunition were sent into this country. In this country also, we had a situation that a foreigner was abducted, and then a troop from outside the country came in Borno State precisely, and then they fished out the man and took him away. But this happening for how many days now? We've not gotten the information, no news that these children have been released here. It's a grave concern. And then I come to question, is it that the chief security officer of this territory of the state is not been showing working?
That's just what it is. And every day we keep hearing that the chief, the security chiefs, they had a meeting. They met with the president. They met with the chief of staff. That's former Speaker of House of Representatives Femi Bajabiamila. Rabiu Musa, not Rabiu Musa right now, Nuhu Ribadu.
That is the
who is also more like the special assistant on something. And at the end of the day, nothing happens.
As the NSA.
Yes, you everything now shows that is either we are not serious about that, or like some callers will say, the notion that maybe they're actually playing games. On the other part of whether insurgency is still active, yes, well alive, because that's it. Because had it been in, we have actually not heard anything. We say, okay, finally, that thing that they said is actually true. But when you hear that 280 something, they're still holding them down there, 1 billion naira, they gave us how many days to pay? If not, that they will be killed. Just Sunday. When we were, busy, for those that went to church, we came back, we are resting. At night, they came, adopted 87. Not only that, also robbed some shops in that area. That means, in other words, they didn't actually shop. They stole something that they will be using. They will be eating in their camps. That means they are preparing, well equipped. Outside Kaduna, in Benue State also is happening there. Plateau State happening there. And someone came out to say that, technically, I think it was the former minister for information, Lai Mohammed, under Buhari, said boldly that Boko Haram has been technically defeated. That's what he said. And so many people analyzed that at that point to say, no, you can't say this. All right.
So Sam, we'll continue with your thoughts on this issue, but we've gotten back online, Sir Chikwe. Sir, you're welcome back to the program. Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. Apologies, of course, certain constraints were conceived there. But before we went offline, there is this position of Governor Babagana Zulum that said that the issue of Boko Haram terrorists had been substantially degraded. And then I came up with the question, sir, is insurgency still well and alive in Nigeria, as a security expert that you are?
Hello?
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, the question is insurgency still well and alive in our country?
Absolutely. It is well and kicking. Very alive. Nothing has changed. In fact, things have escalated the more. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Things have gone haywire. If you take a look at the crime desk around the country, across the country, it is very disturbing. Things have gotten a lot more worse because government have refused to do what they ought to do. Government have refused to put the proper instrumentalities that are required to quell such situations in place. Government have refused to even properly remunerate the security personnel, the welfare of the security personnel that ought to do this, even the tools that are required to do it. Like I keep saying each time I talk to you, they're not there. So the issues, as you hear, they're not true. Nothing has abated. It has exacerbated more.
All right, today is Tuesday, 19th of March, 2024. And over 280 something scholars and teachers were abducted. Immediately after that scene in Kaduna State, a set of abduction of about 16 persons happened there. And on Sunday, 87, up until now as we speak, none. We've not gotten the information, not from anywhere, that anyone has been released yet, despite the president's kickoff mandate that they should get all those abducted released. Does this not worry you as a person?
It does. It doesn't just worry me. It baffles me, because if you look, like I keep saying, look across our neighbors, look across Ghana, look Republic of Benin, even Niger. There's no kidnapping going on. There's no banditry going on in all those places. What are they doing that we're not doing? It is simple. We are encouraging banditry because there is no proper deterrent. And those who ought to do the job are not properly remunerated. In fact, if you take a look at the crime desk, you will see that policemen and members of the armed forces are getting involved very, very much in banditry. Look at the records. Those who are kidnapping right now are those who ordinarily should be preventing the act of kidnapping. So it is increasing. There's no deterrent. The government is focusing on the irrelevancies that we have seen today. Well, if a very hungry Nigerian that is dying and he sees the amount of money you are paying legislators, even to buy cars, almost 160 million to buy one car, and he's dying, he is having arms and ammunition, what do you want him to do? There's no deterrent for him. So you see that we are getting into very serious and worse situation, and government does not seem to understand the yearnings, our cries, our advices, our proposals on how best to do it. Government doesn't seem to do it.
All right, the shock abduction of Chibok girls, of course, this year either we're marking 10 years, if I calculate it properly, Sam, the issue of Chibok girls occasioned local and international outrage came up because of this issue. It also inspired the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Rather than deterring the terrorists, the attention their wicked acts generated the issue of the knowledge that they could use the girls as bargaining chip. Now, they requested over 40 trillion naira. This group, 11 Hilux vehicles and 150 motorcycles. Again, for the release of the children in Kaduna State that were abducted, they requested 1 billion naira. Is this to say that this group are making use of this strategy as a business?
Well, do not forget the origin of it all. Who are these bandits? How did it start? These bandits are, from all intent and purpose, they are Fulanese. Either Nigerian Fulanese or foreign Fulanese. They were brought into the country to protect one candidate, according to the information we have, very clear information from a current national officer of the government, before he was a national officer, Nuhu Ribadu, before he was NSA. He said very clearly, look at the origin of it and look at where they came from. And when Buhari became president, they were asking to be settled. They were not settled. And because they were not settled, they turned from being political thugs to bandits, to kidnappers. And it was encouraged by the government, practically encouraged by the government, unfortunately. We had the Ministry of Meiti Allah in the presidency. Are you not aware of it? Everybody's aware of it. We saw their vehicles, the presidency, Meiti Allah. So the previous government encouraged it because the presidency was essentially a tribal one, without missing words. So the very tribal presidency. Because their people were involved, the Fulanese were involved. Fulanese from West Africa, Fulanese from Nigeria, Fulanese from Africa, because they were involved, government took no proper decision on quelling and making sure it didn't continue. Rather, it was changed and called Herders Farmers conflict. Herders Farmers dispute. It was not Herders Farmers dispute. These were criminals that were brought into the country to help a political party But because the political party won the election, now these criminals remained back, wanted to be settled, could not be settled, turned into bandits. And because it was profitable, other people joined, other Nigerians joined. It was not just them alone now. It is an all-commerce game. Very profitable, no deterrent, no effectiveness of government checks and balances. It became very profitable. And also even people now use it to settle disputes. It was used now to settle business disputes, family disputes, even communal disputes. It was now banditry and kidnapping that was now being used to settle those. So this is the situation, my dear. And government does not want to recognize this. And let me tell you where it is becoming a problem now. It is becoming a problem now because Northerners, who are the ones most affected, are not looking at curbing the process, curbing the problem. They are now interested in negotiating. Once you start negotiating with bandits, you are arming them.
What about the school of thought within the operation of the military that you can still use the non-kinetic approach in achieving these things, sir?
Nowhere in the world do we negotiate with criminals. If you negotiate with criminals, you are arming them. Look at what they are asking for. They are asking for more motorcycles, more Hilux buses, Hilux trucks, and they're asking for more money. What will they use that for? One was being interviewed recently, and he was asked, you received 60 million. What did you use that 60 million for? He said he used it to buy more arms. And don't forget that there is availability of arms in the system because Libya failed and Libya's armory was being looted. Less than Libya's armory is what is in the system. If they bring in everything in the system, it will overwhelm everybody. So what we're saying is that government ought to do the proper role, take over the proper role of government, quell the insurgency. 95 to 99% of all criminals right now, all these bandits are in the bushes. Clear the bushes. Remove this insurgency from the bushes, from our forests. That is where they are right now. And we are having a blind eye to it. As I talk to you now, most of our tracking equipment are no more working. Tracking equipment are no more working. Somebody is kidnapped, is kept for months, negotiating with GSM telephone. Nowhere in the world can you use GSM telephone and you're not located. Nowhere. And government is having a blind eye to it. We're not using the necessary tools everybody else is using around the world. That is the problem, my brother. That is the clear problem. And if government is not serious, not too long ago, they came into Abuja, they came into Buhari, they were now becoming concerned because it was coming close to them. It will come in everywhere in the nation if we do not do the needful. And what is the needful? Let us clear these criminals from the bushes. If you recall my maiden address to the Association of Certified Systems Consultants, I said very clearly, in no unequivocal terms, the armed forces should leave the forests, should leave their air-conditioned offices and enter the forests. They should leave their air-conditioned offices, the comfort of their air-conditioned offices. Clear these criminals, ragtag army, ragtag criminals, that's who they are. We can clear them from the forests. Our forests are very clear. That is the valley where they are. And since we have identified that this is where they are, I do not see any reason whatsoever why we cannot clear them from the forests. Every forest is in a local government. If we have the forest guards that we have kept talking about, let us have the forest guards. These forest guards will be able to remove everybody from the forest. They are in the forest already. We know them. They are in the forest. In fact, some of these forests where they are identifiable. They are very identifiable forests where they are. The issue that Boko Haram is no more existing in the Sambisa area is a lie. The Boko Haram is very live, it's well, it is kicking, it is causing its mayhem, and Nigerians are the ones who are suffering. And we are suffering very brutally, unfortunately, especially where there is a solution. Our neighbors are not suffering. From Lagos to Ghana the other day, I made it for 45 minutes. Lagos, there's problem associated with kidnapping, associated with banditry. On this side, on this last side, 45 minutes, peaceful business activity. Life is going on very well. Government is up to its duties. Everybody is living to its assigned duty to make sure that life and property are properly protected. But over here, Republic of Benin, from Badagry to Republic of Benin, it's a walking distance. Across the other border, there's peace, there's sanity, business activities are going on very well. On this other side, there is problem. Why? It is just the attitude of government. Government have refused to do the needful. They have refused to ensure that the tools that are necessarily required to put away these criminals are properly implemented. And also they have refused to remunerate and make sure the welfare of those who ought to handle these tools, those who ought to handle these arms, they are not properly remunerated, and they are joining in the banditry. And because they are joining in the banditry, it is making the job more difficult.
Right, when this all happens, then you see that people keep saying that Nigeria has a well-to-do military outfit, of course, from time to time and several times that they've been sent outside the shores of Nigeria to go assist in maintaining or establishing peace in terms of peacekeeping in other countries. But when it comes to the Nigeria thing, you see them lagging behind, trying to drag feet, as you have said this morning already. Within the international community, Nigeria does businesses with other countries. Nigeria engages as a country with other countries in terms of establishing and fitting in policies. That's where international interest comes in. What could this really mean to Nigeria, given the international face that Nigeria has been holding?
Well, it is true that when our men of the armed forces, our men of the police force, when they go outside this country on international duty, it is true, they excel. They come up tops. They are the best. If you check the records, they have always come back with enormous medals as being the best amongst equals. But what we're saying is this: whenever they come back to the country, what then is the problem? What has them mitigated? They are replicating their efforts that they have excelled outside the country. Leadership. Leadership is the problem. It has affected the international image of our country very massively, both in business and in other sides. It has affected it. Nigeria has gone down all the way, down the drain, when it comes to Committee of Nations, when it comes to respect of Committee of Nations. Nigeria has gone down very sizably. We are no more even considered. Those in security circles, when it comes to decision making, international decision making, we are put at the backyard because leadership problem has continued to mitigate against what ought to be done in ensuring security of life and property is ensured in the country.
All right, let's get down to the state level, sir, where this thing is happening. It happened in Borno, where a score of persons were abducted. It happened in Sokoto. Kaduna is the talk of the town as we speak at the moment. If I want to put it in acute calculation, we should be talking about over 380 something students, both student people and teachers have been abducted. At the state level, you mentioned forest guards. You talked about how security could be local. I've heard you said something on how community policing could be the better approach to arresting most of these issues that happen at the local level. they come up from time to time to give in their promises that they would be able to serve. Is this not another way of evaluating these persons, talking about state governors in terms of securing their territories, holding their states to order that they can address this issue? What is the level of competence we can rate around state governors with regards to the state of insecurity?
Well, what you are trying to drive at is trying to give the state governors more powers. That's what you are trying to drive at. And we have been opposed to it. Why are we opposed to it? We are opposed to it because you have no way of determining what can happen tomorrow except from what happened yesterday. Look at the powers that have been given to them already. The powers to conduct local government and councillorship elections, the powers of joint accounts of states and local governments, the powers to execute budgets. Look at how they have handled it over the years. And look at the attitudes. Like I said the last time I spoke on this platform, I said people who cannot even obey court orders. We have over 4,000 court orders unobeyed by governors from 1999 till date. Over 4,000. They don't obey court orders. They don't even obey traffic lights. They don't even obey speed limits. No traffic light obedience, no speed limit obedience. Are they the people you are going to give more powers? Okay, look at those that have been given such powers earlier. What did they do with the powers? Look at the Bakafe in Anambra State and Abia State, where they functioned. They were used to intimidate and humiliate political opponents. What happened last month? The primaries of PDP primaries, where the state security apparatus in Edo State, called Edo Security Network, was used to intimidate the deputy governor. Even when he had concluded his own primaries, they came in and it was a mayhem. 3 people died. So government at the state level have the tendency to use the apparatus of government to intimidate people rather than do the job of maintenance of law and order. We're not saying that federal government is not also culpable in this area. No. We have had occasions where federal agencies have been used against individuals. So what are we asking for? To increase the incidence by giving to states too? No. What we should be looking at is stopping what is happening at the federal government, where the federal security apparatus that ought to be used to protect life and property is now being converted to be used for other gains, political gains. So we are saying the state governors, look at what we have given to them so far, look at how they have used it. If you give them more powers, how will they use it? That's the problem. We're not saying we don't need the center to be deregulated. No. We're not saying we don't need to restructure the police machinery to go closer to the people. No. But where does this power lie? Where do we centralize the use of arms and ammunition, that's the police work, and the prosecution, the investigation, and the criminalization of any individual? Where do we put that power to? If we put the powers to the hands of the politician, it's a problem. That's what we're saying. So in the alternative, we're saying that the best approach to it, send the security of the people straight to the people. Communities, not even local governments, communities. In the local government, we have several communities. Send security of the people to the communities. Nobody can secure you more than yourself. Let it be in the hands of the communities to secure themselves. In that process, even the funding of those apparatus, every community has billionaires and millionaires. Communities have affordability to take care of their own security. When it comes to personal security, security of your own community, people will come out and ensure it is done and it is done properly. So what we're saying, therefore, is that we don't have to move from fry pan to the fire. We don't have to come from the federal establishment, a federal government that is currently receiving 52% of the national wealth, cannot maintain the police force, cannot properly fund the police force. Is it the states that are receiving 26% that can fund the police? And when you do not fund them properly, when you give them arms and you don't fund them properly, they will use the arms you have given them to fend for themselves. That is what we're seeing today. We're now seeing from our records, from the crime desk, from the crime records, we're seeing that law enforcement that ought to use the personnel of law enforcement that ought to use the arms and ammunition given to him to protect the society is now using those arms and ammunition against the society. That is the result of not properly remunerating personnel of armed forces.
All right. The great concern at this point, Sir Chikwe, is the release of these abductees from the den of these kidnappers, these bandits in our country who have been terrorizing our society. Over 300, if I would have the accurate number rather in my head this morning. Going forward, the possibility, they've been there for days now, and it didn't just stop at the 287 or above 287. 15 followed and 87 followed precisely in Kaduna State. How about the situation going forward before we let you go?
Well, before I started this program with you, I was listening to the governor of Niger State. The governor of Niger State is advocating that we should go and discuss and negotiate with bandits. We should find a way to appease bandits. That is what the governor of a state is suggesting. And we are wondering, who are these bandits? If we identify these bandits, we treat them as bandits. Moses, my dear, the facts are very clear. The bandits we have in the country today are essentially, to a large percentage, before other communities joined into banditry, kidnappers and bandits we have are those who were brought into this country to protect politicians, to protect their votes. After the election, they wanted to be settled, and they could not settle them. That is why they became bandits. They wanted to settle themselves. And they're settling themselves at the expense of the society. And the government we had, the government of that day, the Buhari government, had a blind eye because it was his own tribe. The Fulanis from the western part of the country, from the Sahel region of the country, they were the ones essentially that terrorized this country and already ruined so many areas of the country because of their very violent approach to situations. But what we're saying is very simple. Now Buhari is no more in government. Are we going to continue to blame Buhari? No. We should not take the bull by the horn. What do? Do the needful. We have identified where the kidnappers are. Where are they?